our next speaker, Luke Charlton, who is a citizen. I mean, at the core, he is a citizen in our republic, as are many. As Bill Ray Lewis talked about our chapters. We've got chapters in various cities, growing every day. We would encourage anyone listening to start your own chapter. We'll tell you how to do it. All you need to do is contact myself, Joey McCutcheon, or Dr. Bill Ray Lewis. And that's exactly what happened with Luke, Luke is a father of 6. He obviously is concerned, he and his wife are concerned about open government. I know that I first talked to Luke and his wife about an issue that was going on in Benton County, in the Bentonville Public Schools, about what I would consider to be an open meeting violation. Well, it wasn't 2 months later, Fort Smith was doing the same thing. So we have got to act on these. But Luke and his wife have started Defend Arkansas, in which they are involved with at least one ballot initiative regarding the Arkansas Medical Freedom Amendment. Look up that amendment. Look at that amendment. If you're inclined, like Luke is, that our medical freedoms are being violated through COVID or anything else, get involved in that. Learn more, gain more information. We thank Luke for starting a TIGG chapter in Benton County. And Luke, we look forward to your presentation today, how to notify public bodies. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and everybody else that's working in this Freedom of Information Act. But Joy nailed it. I'm a citizen. You know, I don't have a long history in even following politics, but the past 2 years I've really taken notice of what was going on around me and tried to focus on it. You know, we're a busy family. As he said, we have 6 children. My wife homeschools them. You know, a couple years ago when we moved into Arkansas, we were able to get my oldest daughter into the AAA program, where even though we homeschool, she can participate in the public school system, and she's now in the orchestra, excelling very well, and that has drawn us into more of the public arena, and we've seen more of the stuff going on. So we've had been to several meetings now where we've raised some concerns about how they're handling things. So and we are getting more involved. As Joey said, we have a petition going for the Arkansas Medical Freedom Amendment. I will be able to talk about that a little bit later. As my wife was unable to make it, I'm going to fill in for her. So I got more time later. But right now, I did want to talk about how to notify public bodies. So as I'm coming into this and I'm starting to go to these meetings, I keep missing these special meetings. And I'm like, well, I didn't even know about that meeting. You know, I don't get on Facebook that much. I don't watch the news. I don't watch TV. So, you know, it was a struggle for me to even find out when the meetings were. So most of this information comes from page 20 in the little handbook, the FOIA handbook that's at each table and is available for free through the Arkansas government. But basically, it's fairly easy, especially if you're obviously, if you're a media organization, if you're a newspaper, if you're a television station, if you're a radio station, all you're required to do is every year notify the public body, whatever governing body that is, if it's a school board, if it's a city council, whatever it is, you notify them and you say, you know, we want to be notified of all meetings, and they are then required by the Open Public Meetings FOIA to give you at least a 2-hour window before they can meet. So if they're wanting to have an emergency meeting, they have to notify the public, they have to notify the news organizations, they have to wait at least 2 hours before they can do that. So, but I would also say that you know, the law is not very strict on who could be notified. I mean, it's pretty open. So I think, you know, if you are maybe I don't know, Moms for Liberty, or there's lots of different organizations, Facebook groups that people will go to for their information for news sources. So I think if you run a group like that, you could obviously request that information, you know. So we had some friends in a fairly local school district where, there was an emergency meeting called during parent-teacher conferences. So all the teachers were in the schools and they couldn't leave, and they didn't know anything about the meeting. But, if somebody had notified the public body of their desire to know about the meetings, if they had a text chain or if they had an email chain, then, they got that notice, and then 2 hours later, they could have notified everybody, in their organization, in their group, and they could have had public representation there, and that meeting happened to be the one where they decided that they wanted everybody in the school district to wear masks, and like none of the teachers were there, nobody got a say in it. It was just one of those things that, shouldn't happen. We have the ability for them to not sneak in meetings on us. So that was one example. I did want to, I'm maybe a younger generation some. I know I don't read as much as I should, so I'm just going to read the short spurt about what I'm talking about. It does say, in the event of emergency, and this is in the FOIA law, in the event of emergency or special meeting, the person calling the meeting shall notify the representatives of the newspapers, radio stations, and television stations, if any, located in the county in which the meeting is to be held, and any news media located elsewhere that cover regular meetings of the governing body, and that have requested to be so notified of emergency or special meetings of the time, place, and the date of the meeting. Notification shall be made at least 2 hours before the meeting takes place in order that the public shall have representatives at the meeting. So we have the right to be there. Open public meeting says so. They have to let us know about it. And then the only real requirements that it spells out is we have to notify them every year, and each governing body we have to notify at the beginning of every year so they can notify us. So that's pretty much how to notify your public bodies. You can do that in really any form. I would suggest email and certified letters in every form possible, so there's no excuse to why they can't do that. So any questions or comments on that? Or corrections from the more experienced FOIA experts in the room?
Luke, let me comment on something.
Please.
I experienced this one time. I was fired as high school principal here at Harrison one time. And the Board of Education, the reason I was fired, I think, is because I spoke out.
Bill Ray, can you come up
Yeah,
here
come up to the mic.
where the
Okay.
folks on the...
Online can hear you.
My name is Bill Ray Lewis, and I think I can speak to Luke from firsthand experience. I was terminated one time back in 1910. No, not that early. Back about 1979, 81, somewhere thereabouts, because I criticized a superintendent here for some things. And the day, Jeff, that I was fired, the day that I was terminated, the board called a meeting while the staff members were in session. So, almost like you're saying here. So many of the staff members couldn't come because they were already in session. So this is a very important thing sometimes, and I think what happened maybe in your community probably happened here, that the public was sort of shunted out and forbidden to come because of the nature of the thing and the way it was made. But Joy, this gentleman here has experienced, as you know, many of these same things over there. And Luke, we're glad that you all are starting in Gravette, okay, in Gentry.
Happy to. Thank you.